We're here today. I'm Jennifer DeGroat, head librarian for the CADL Aurelius Library, and I am joined by Courtney, and she is our digital services librarian. And we want to talk with you today about our student success initiative that we are doing with our CADL libraries. And hopefully you've all signed up because you've heard about it, but we want to share lots more information with you. So Courtney, if you want to bring up our screen share today, we'll get started.
And then just so you know, we do have another staff member, Lynn Harper, who is the head of the Dansville branch, and she will be monitoring the chat. So if at any point you have any questions, go ahead and you can put them in chat, and either she'll answer them or we'll answer them later when we pause. We will be stopping periodically to answer questions, so feel free to utilize that.
All right, so our Student Success Initiative, I want to start out and just talk about what it is. If you want to put that next slide up for us, Courtney. Basically, it's a partnership between our capital area district libraries and our school districts that are in the service area we provide to provide all students with access to our educational resources. It uses their student usernames and gives them access to books, computers, and digital resources. And we'll talk a little bit more about what all that entails in just a moment. If you want to go to the next one, Courtney. So how do these library cards work? These cards are virtual or digital cards, we call them. Each school district that's participating with us sends us a file of student names and usernames. And students don't need a physical card. Everything gets downloaded and these cards get made so that students don't have to carry around an extra card or piece of paper. Some students may benefit from that. And if you are a teacher at a school or have a classroom where you feel that students would benefit from actually having an actual card, we can provide those. You just contact the librarian at the nearest CADL library to you or the one that you work with, and we can work with you to get those physical cards, but students don't have to have them. In order to check out items with us and use this card, students only need to know what their student username is. And in most cases, it is that login that they would use to access their email or accounts with your school. And so each one is unique. And I'll go through what some of those may look like in just a moment, what that code is. But they basically just need to know their student username. These cards allow limited access to physical items to check out in our collection and also full access to all the digital resources that we offer. And Courtney will talk about that piece in a little bit. We'll go more in depth about that. One thing we're super excited to be able to tell you is that there are no overdue fines with CADL anymore. We have gone completely fine free. Your students and yourselves will never have to worry about fines. The only thing that you would have to worry about are lost or damaged items. We ask parents or guardians to still be responsible for those items if that happens. We do have a system we can work with you when things are lost or damaged. If that becomes an issue, talk with us and we can deal with that. But for the most part, we do ask parents and guardians to be responsible for that. We do notify districts, and we have districts notify parents and guardians about the service, and any family that wants to opt out is given that opportunity to do so. And we just want you to know that. Now, we have some super readers or some students that can benefit from a fuller access card. Students can actually get a regular library card with more privileges, with actually up to 70 items at a time if they would like. They can have that concurrently with the SSI card. One of the things that we find often is that, especially with you as an educator, you may want all of your students to be able to access library privileges. And by having these SSI cards, you will know what your student's login is. You can help them do that without them having to come to the library to get a youth card. But if you have a student that needs more access, they absolutely can do that. Do you want to go to the next one for me, Courtney? So I just want to show you a sample of those usernames that students may be using. We call them barcodes. And basically what we've done, there's a list of districts, and each of you that has joined us today is from a different district. If you take a look at the screen, you'll see what your district has done. Each different district has a unique code. For instance, DAN stands for Dansville, HAS from Hazlitt, and you can look and see what all of those different codes are. And then the student login gets added after that special code. So I'll use the Dansville example because it's the first one. It would be DAN to stand for the Dansville district, and then that login or username, which in this case would be some initials and some numbers. So each district is a little bit different in the codes that they'll use, but the general formula is the same. Some letters to stand for that district, and then the student username goes after that. Do you want to go to the next one for me? So what kinds of card benefits can students have? They get limited automatic access to our library resources. There's absolutely no need for parents or guardians to visit the library to sign up for a library account. The schools send us that data file to upload, so nobody has to fill any forms out, and parents have that chance to opt out. And your students have access no matter where they live. We don't charge any non-residency fees for students to have these SSI cards. If they go to your school, if it's a school choice situation, they automatically get one. We don't mind. And all students have access, whether they're living in our service area or not. The next one for me. So these cards allow your students to check out up to 3 books, audiobooks or magazines at a time. And those are items from our physical collection that they can walk in, and at one time they can have up to 3. They can check out Wi-Fi hotspots. If you have a student that needs internet access at home, they can check out filtered Wi-Fi hotspots with us. They can put those on hold and pick them right up at the library. We're happy to provide that, and they can use this card to check it out. Students can use our public computers with these cards. They can have access to be able to do that. They also can access all of our digital resources, including our Overdrive collection that has ebooks, audiobooks, and magazines. Our Hoopla collection, which has also ebooks, audiobooks, and then it additionally has comics and music and movies. They can also access our Tutor.com resource, which provides live tutor homework help and has test prep materials as well, which can be very valuable. When they can't access you, they can access this. It is available in the evenings and on weekends as well. So all of those things are things that they can access with these cards. And the next slide for me, Courtney. Now, these cards don't allow students to check out our library of things items. So we have musical instruments, we have some tools, games, all kinds of things in our library of things, and students won't be able to check those out with the student success cards. However, they can get those hotspots. That's an exception. Students cannot check out launch pads, which are those tablets that are preloaded with learning games and things. They'd have to have a youth card for that. They are not able to check out DVDs, Blu-rays, or CDs at this time. They also would not be able to borrow through our Melcat interlibrary loan sharing resource at this time. Those things would be off limits unless they had a parent come in and sign on for them to get one of those regular youth cards with regular benefits. And the next one. I do want to let you know that there is access for all of you as educators, as teachers in your school. We can provide that same limited access student success card as what your students would have. Teachers would be financially responsible for that card, and you can, as a teacher, you can have a regular full access adult card that you would use with our system and get one of these SSI cards. Now, we have another option for teachers, and those are our full access business cards for the classroom. You can apply for a regular business library card. There's no restriction on the types of items that you can check out. You can get up to 70 things at a time with those cards for your classroom. You can borrow things from our library things, and I would highly recommend check that out. It's a very valuable resource. You wouldn't even believe all the things that we have right now. You can borrow items through our Melcat interlibrary loan resource. We can get items from all over the state for you. You would still have that access to all the digital resources. And in this case, you would have an administrator from your school or from your district sign on so that the school district would be held financially responsible for those cards if that was the option. So as a teacher, you can get a student success card right along with your students. You could opt to do this business card, or if you wanted, you can just sign up as a regular adult individual just to get your own card too. We can do all of those things for you. So we would be happy to provide for you the same level of service that we can provide for your students and a little bit more too, because we just want to be able to help you do that. At this point, I want to ask if there are any questions about anything I've talked about so far with the student success cards. Please feel free to type that in the chat.
So with the digital ebooks, what are you finding kids, do they tend to use their phones? What do you help them with that technical part of it? Do you have some help sheets on that? Because I feel like that's a place that our local or school libraries are weak on. We don't have a budget for much on the ebooks, but I think kids would connect with those. So maybe what would you say about that?
Yeah, so we'll go through our digital services in a moment so you can get the full scope, but I will say, I do think a lot of students do like to use them on mobile devices, either their own phones or like their family's tablet or things like that. And we do have many resources. If they do need any assistance, of course, they can come into a branch if that's a thing they can do and get assistance from any staff member there. We have a chat service. We have tutorial videos that are up on our site, and I'll show those to you as well when we're going to have a brief live demo. And I'll show you where those tutorials live. But of course, yeah, they can use us as a resource if they need any assistance getting to use these, or if they have questions about them. We're here to help.
Right, because like I love the service I get, but it goes through my my Kindle reader, so I have that advantage, and I don't think a lot of my kids have Kindles. So,
well, one of the things that they can do, we have Chromebooks, we have tablets, things that if the family gets a card, an adult gets a card, or if they get a youth card, some of those are available. They can borrow those from the library to download as well.
Okay. All right. So I'll talk a little bit about the types of digital services that we have available to you and your students. So basically, I want to kind of break this up. We have two main types of digital services. The first one we call download and stream, and you can find all of these things here in the navigation bar of our website, which is www.cadl.org. So for download and stream, these are things that you can access either through a web browser or through an app, and they're predominantly for downloading and streaming our various types of content like Overdrive, Hoopla, Canopy, those type of services. On the other side, we have what we call research and learn. And these are databases and other types of online tools that we have either we subscribe to, or that we kind of have links to on our website to help with a really wide range of informational and educational needs. So I'm going to go through them a bit. So I'm going to start briefly discussing our download and streaming section. So when we say download and streaming, the three services we're mostly talking about are Overdrive, Hoopla, and Canopy. There is a fourth one called Bookflix, but I want to talk about that one a little more in depth later. So I'll come back to that one. But for Overdrive, Hoopla, and Canopy, between these three services, everyone has access to ebooks, audiobooks, comics and graphic novels, movies and television, music, I have music listed twice, music and magazines. So quite a wide range of formats, and they're all digital, so they're all available 24/7 with a few stipulations. Sometimes some services like Overdrive do have hold lines, but for example, Hoopla and Canopy, everything is available all the time, so there are no hold lines for that service. So of course, these, when people think of them, their primary thought is for entertainment purposes, which isn't, that's not a bad thing to know, especially for students. It's a great way to encourage reading and convenient reading. But I think it's good to contextualize. They're also useful, I think, for some other things. For reading assignments, especially as I mentioned, Overdrive and Hoopla are great because, as I said, they give students easy access to thousands of ebooks in a wide variety of topics and genres that they can easily read on a computer or tablet or phone, whatever kind of device. They're good for research. There are many databases that we have, but even in Hoopla and Overdrive, there's a lot of reference and educational material. And in Canopy, there's many documentaries and a lot of educational video content. So they also can be useful for projects. Say if a student is working on a presentation, they want to include some multimedia. You can get images from some of these, but you can also even embed small snippets of video from Canopy. Like there's a wide range of uses, and there's just so much content, and it's freely available to your students and you. So that I wanted to highlight that aspect. The other thing about our download and streaming services that I want to mention for convenience, they also all have some type of kids mode. So in Overdrive, it's kind of a small image, but you can see here there are two different areas, kids and teens. And so these are like filtered catalog views. So they just make it easier to find content that might be appealing to your students or to you if you're trying to prepare some materials for your students. Hoopla has what they call kids mode. It's the same type of situation. You can turn it on up here in the corner or in Hoopla settings, and that just filters the available content so that it's easier to find things that will appeal to that audience. Canopy Kids has something really special. So essentially Canopy Kids, Canopy is our streaming video service. So it has documentaries, art house films, foreign films. It has popular films now too. There's a lot of educational content. Canopy also has something called Canopy Kids, which is essentially a whole separate catalog that you can go into. And the nice thing about Canopy Kids is that it's completely unlimited. So for our normal Canopy service, you get only 8 checkouts per month because it is very high quality content. And so there's only 8 checkouts a month normally, but when you switch over into Canopy Kids, you'll see that number go away because there's no checkout limits. People can just watch things as many times as they want, as much as they want. So that can be very nice. It has a lot of PBS content. There's so much great and fun things in Canopy Kids. So I really recommend it. Not just, oh yeah, I'm sorry.
We had a question come in from Jill, and she's asking, as a teacher, may I program the site for my students to Kids Zone?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Yes. So Jill is asking, as a teacher,
yes,
may I program the site for my students to the Kids Zone?
I'm not sure. You can't automatically set all of the students' cards to go to that. That's not really something we have the power to do. But for example, you could, if you're using it yourself in the classroom, you can always switch to that mode on your own card. Or if you're presenting, you can switch to that mode. If you are helping your students find content, you can show them how to switch to that so that it just makes it faster and easier for them to find things. For Canopy Kids, I will also mention a lot of that content is licensed for public viewing, so you can show it in the classroom as well. So I don't know if that answered the question.
She said thank you, so I do believe so.
Okay. So in any case, as I said, I think the image of these services is that they're purely for entertainment value, but I think they have a lot of opportunities for use in education as well. So please check them out and see if there's something good you can find. I'm going to switch gears and talk about Research and Learn for a little while. Is that okay? Are there any further questions about these services? Okay. All right, we'll look a little more at them when we get out to the website, but I'll just talk briefly about Research and Learn for the moment. Okay, so our Research and Learn section is also located as a nav menu option on our website. And there's quite a lot in here, but the 3 pages I want to talk about today are these. We have 2 homework help pages and 1 page that's called K12 Educators. So I'm gonna briefly talk about what's on these, and then we're actually gonna go look at all this stuff. Okay. So on the homework help K through 6, the resources on this page focus primarily on early literacy and explorative learning. So lots of games, activities, things to sort of foster a love of learning, a love of reading. On homework help 7 through 12, these resources primarily focus on things to help students complete assignments and projects and to work on their papers. And then we newly created this K through 12 educators page. Oh, is there a question? Everything okay? Sorry, I can't see everybody or the chat, so I'm a little blind. But anyway, speak up if there are any questions, or Lynn and Jennifer, if there's something in chat, let me know. Okay. So for the K through 12 educators page, as they said, we recently developed this one shortly after COVID, based on feedback that we got from a lot of teachers. And so it focuses primarily on resources to assist in lesson planning and providing content that you can use during classroom time. A lot of the resources come included with teacher guides or teacher materials. And then we also have some resources on here that we hope will be helpful if you need to expand your skill set, or if there's something you need to learn, especially there's been a lot of paradigm changes. So hopefully there are some things on there that can be helpful to you in your career, I suppose. As I said, up here in the navigation menu, we have our download and streaming section. So if you come here to the overview, you can kind of get a sense of the different formats that we have and the different services that we offer each type of format. Sometimes we have multiple services that offer a format, in which case we have this help me choose page. And this is basically a chart that says what did this do better than the other one. A lot of times they work well in tandem, like their strengths and weaknesses play on each other. So a lot of people use all of our services. But if you, for example, only want to find something about audiobooks, or you have a student who really just prefers to read on Kindle or Nook, these pages can kind of help you navigate that. I did mention earlier that we have video tutorials on a lot of our content. So I don't know if you can see, but if you notice on several of these pages, there will be an orange kind of sidebar situation here. So in this orange sidebar, you'll, if you open it up, you can see we have several tutorial videos. And this is where you yourself or your students, if they want help getting started with any of our services and even the databases, this can kind of help. There are videos if nobody wants to watch the video. I know some people like video content for learning, some people don't. Underneath the video, there are always screenshots and directions. And you can look for if they have a different type of operating system, or they're using a web browser. Those are always included in these tutorials. So of course, as I mentioned, everyone's always welcome to come into the branch to ask for help. You can call the branch. We have a chat service as well that can forward you to the correct person if anyone needs assistance. And we also have these videos. So hopefully that is helpful. Okay. So the next thing I want to go through really quickly is our research and learn pages that I mentioned before. So if you hover over research and learn, and you can go down and click on our homework help pages. I do want to highlight a few of these, but I kind of want to give some context. So on these pages, we have two major sections. The top section are things that CADL provides, and you can see that. And then we also have many resources that we've picked out from the things that MEL provides to the entire state. So I'm not going to talk about these two specifically because I think next week, there are a couple of sessions provided by the Library of Michigan on the MEL resources. I think they'll do a much better job to adequately explain all of these. I will talk about a few of our resources that I think are very beneficial, but in any case, the top part, as I said, those are subscription services that are provided to users, library card holders, or people in the state of Michigan, in the case of MEL, for free. So at the bottom, you'll also often see some other resources. These are things that are available out on the open web, but that our librarians have curated in the hopes that they will be helpful for whatever topic it is that the page is about. So you'll see, if I go to homework help 7 through 12, this one has a lot more MEL resources. They're much more focused on things like high-level databases or things to complete assignments, papers, especially research papers. They have a lot more of those. They have quite a lot. So if there are times when you are assisting your students to write a paper or you're bringing up assignments like that, this is a great page to show them, because depending on the topic, there's likely going to be something here. If they're writing a history paper, we have something here for that. If they're writing an argumentative paper, we have a couple of resources that can help, like opposing viewpoints and context. So, oh, is that okay? One moment. Okay, I had to let someone in. All right, so
And as Courtney's talking, I just want to just clarify for everybody. When we talk about student success cards don't work with Mel, we're talking about physical items that they would borrow and get sent here from other libraries, but these Mel digital resources are available with those cards. So just to clarify what I talked about earlier, are actual physical items from the collection, not these. These are always available to students with those cards.
Thank you, Jennifer. The last thing I want to just briefly kind of show is this K-12 Educators page. On here, there are a lot of overlap between a lot of these pages. So on this one, you may see some resources that are on the homework help grades 7 through 12, but especially we pulled out the resources that, like I mentioned before, have the supplemental resources for educators and things like that. So especially if one of these resources had material like that, we included it on this page. Additionally, as I said, we do have some resources that we felt might just be helpful for skill sets. So we've included LinkedIn Learning, which I'll talk a little bit about more later, and things like Pronunciator. We also have down here at the bottom under other resources, this is one of our more heavily curated pages. We've pulled out a lot of materials that we hope will be helpful in planning lessons, in providing supplemental material, and things like that. We hope that this page will be a resource for you, and any feedback you have on any of these pages, we're really grateful for. We've created them for students and teachers, so any feedback to that end, if you think this is helpful or if you wish there was something more like this, it's very valuable to us, so we'd like it so we can help you, I guess. Okay, so I did want to, as I said, highlight a few resources kind of per each section. So in our early literacy, I really want to talk about Bookflix. Bookflix is, I don't know if anyone's used it. If you have, great. If you haven't, maybe check it out. But Bookflix offers a wide range of video storybooks. And what's really cool about it is, so you'll have this video storybook, and let's say the video storybook is about penguins, and it's fiction. With each video storybook, they also include another book alongside it, which will be nonfiction. So if there's a cute story about a penguin, they'll also have a nonfiction book that kids can read next to it that will give some facts about penguins. There's also going to be educational games and activities. This is a resource that we found is quite popular. We've heard a lot of teachers are using it in their classroom. So I just wanted to highlight it in case you hadn't heard of it yet and would like to try it. The next thing I want to talk about is tutor.com. So this is on all of those pages, but not only that, it's available right at the top of our navigation page. If you hover over Research and Learn, you can get to it very easily there. This is available to all cardholders, and it's really great because it does have the live tutoring from 2 to 9 p.m. every day. That's one great thing, but that's not even the whole of it. So in addition to the live tutoring, there's lots of things you can do that are asynchronous. So a student can, for example, can submit a paper to have someone look at it and give them feedback. Obviously, they're not going to write the paper for them, but they'll give them some critique so that they can write a better draft. You can drop off math questions. So if a student has a problem with a math question, they can submit their question and then get feedback from a tutor or an educator on what went wrong or how to solve problems like that. Beside that, of course, they have some ACT and SAT, lots of test prep. But in addition to that, they have other resources that are just about broadening skills. So you can watch videos on doing math or English topics and things like that. So it's called tutor.com. They do have tutoring. The tutoring is amazing. It's great, but it also has much more. So I do like to highlight it because I think those other things sometimes get a little buried and people don't know they exist. So now you know. Okay, and the last thing I want to highlight is that we have access to LinkedIn Learning through our library cards. So LinkedIn Learning, if you don't know, used to be lynda.com, and they are instructional videos that cover an immensely wide range of topics. So in my work life, I use this whenever I forget how to do something in Excel. I just look up very quickly. I find a video that teaches Excel. I find the exact specific thing that I'm trying to do. There'll be a tiny video clip for it with documentation that I can download if I want to. It's very nice. It's very robust. All the content is kept up to date, and they're all done by, they're all professionally done by industry leaders. So that's nice. And it does cover a very wide range of topics. So I mentioned Excel. So it covers many software topics, Excel, Microsoft, iOS things. But you can also do more creative things like making good videos, making tutorials, using a camera, things. There's just a huge range of topics. So it's great for teachers if you want to expand your skill set. It's great for students if they want to learn how to use software or learn a new skill or something like that. So this is something that everyone can take advantage of with a CADL card. Okay. I went a little quickly, I think. I hope it wasn't too quick, but if you do have any questions ever about our digital services, especially, feel free to contact anyone, but you can contact me directly. And if you have any questions about student success, feel free to reach out to any branch, but you can also go to cadl.org/student success. So,
Joe, were you asking about the LinkedIn Learning?
Yeah, I couldn't see that one. Was it under homework help or?
LinkedIn Learning it's under the K12 Educators page. It's also in a few other places.
Okay.
But you can definitely get to it from that page.
Yep, got it. Okay.
If there's ever something you're looking for and you can't quite remember where it is too, there's a chat surface you can use. We do have an A through Z page. But yeah, that one is definitely under K-12 Educator.
Thanks.
Sure.
Are there any questions for us about anything that we presented today?
I mean, I do have one, but I'm not sure how much more of your program. I have a few questions about accounts, student accounts, some of that, just some of the, I mean, I guess I'm wondering, so I understand it's HOL for Holt plus their login here in the district. Are we transferring student passwords, or are they creating those? So you're nodding no, they're creating.
Yes. So for passwords, so students are given a username, and then if they want to like log into the CADL website or anything like that, they will need to create a password. We do have a tutorial video on how to do that. It's on this cadl.org/student success page. We also have a YouTube channel that has a playlist for student success, and the video is in that playlist as well. I can link it. Well, it's on the page, so that might just be easier. But
yeah, I'll check that out.
Yeah, so they will need to
managing passwords with 10, 11-year-olds, you know, it's like,
yeah.
It's like, so I was hoping
Thanks, Lynn.
we would just have the same one and then it's done, but I guess.
For security purposes, we don't want to transfer information. We just want to keep the most basic information that we would have to do that card, just say, to keep it safe for everybody.
Okay.
So we don't transfer any of those passwords, they just create. If you would like to prompt them to create that same password, you're welcome to do that, especially if you're walking your whole class through it, they're welcome to use those.
You can't use special characters though, can you?
There is a very comprehensive list of rules. When you go to create the account, it will show like a bulleted list of don't do this, don't do that. So it prompts every time.
Yep.
Yeah, we've made our kids move to a special character.
Oh.
So we won't be able to have them use the same one, unfortunately.
I see.
Just drop that last one. I might try that. But like, I want every kid to go ahead, because I'm a middle school librarian, and be like, awesome, let's all get in and try it. But I want to make sure I don't want to go there blind. You can just imagine what that would be.
We do have, I did kind of reference, we do have a number of tutorials that are about getting started with this program on that page. So one of them covers passwords. One of them further explains how accounts work. And then a few of them go through what some of the content that you might find useful are. One of them explains, for example, Learning Express Library. We have one that goes over like resources for writing a paper and things like that. So
I have two
It's on
things.
that student success page then,
Yep.
or on the YouTube page.
well, both, but you can find all of it on the / student success page.
Okay.
Jill, did you have a question?
Yeah, I have two things. Number one, so Mr. Kim from the South Lansing Library came into my class last week, or it's been a long week, last week.
Okay.
And they were great. They were, I teach 5th grade.
Okay.
So the kids caught on, they got into Libby. So, and they did passwords. They did do their own passwords, like Superman, whatever. But if they, and I wrote them down, but if for some reason they lose them or whatever, can they reset their password?
Yes.
Or?
So for all of them, for Overdrive, luckily you just need the library card number. So that one, no password. So that's not a problem. But for like Hoopla, Canopy, and our own website for my account, you can just do the forgot password link and it will send you an email and you can fix it right there.
Okay. All right. They came up with clever Marvel ones that they all seem to remember. So
Good. That's cute.
Thank you.
Song is amazing. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that worked out. Does anybody else have questions?
Just to follow up on that one, I'm Cindy Webster. I'm the middle school librarian in Okemos. And our email system doesn't let outside email come in. So I assume that's going to be an issue with resetting passwords.
Okay. In the case of, well, so I'm not sure what the best plan is for Canopy. I might want to talk to our collections director on that. She might have a good advice. But for Hoopla, I have noticed with Hoopla, if you submit, they have a submit feedback link at the bottom of their website, and if you send them an email saying, hey, I'm not getting this password reset email, they have been known to just send temporary credentials so that you can log in and change your password. Yeah. I do highly recommend when that happens that people do change it, because usually their temp password is like Hoopla 2021 or something like that. So I do recommend people to actually change it once they've got the temporary login, but Hoopla is quite helpful. Sometimes their emails get caught by regular spam things and don't go through. So they're quite responsive and helpful with that.
Right. And we've never had problems. Our kids also don't have special anything in there. They can use their school password. That's how we'll teach them how to do it. But I just was curious because we do have a system that only allows for students in-house emails.
If they have that issue with their My Account on the CADL website, I would just reach out to the Okemos branch, to their account services or circulation, and they can assist with that.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
I want to follow, this is Lynn, I want to follow that up with, on our student success website, there is a form that's live that you can fill out, and there's even some prompts about kind of like common issues that might come up, like I'm having trouble with my password or just things like that. So that's another way that educators can get in touch with us, and then that question or request will get directed to the librarian that works with your school district.
Great,